Beloved, we hit the jackpot. An original Coleman 425C made in Wichita, Kansas from the 60s. This is the very stove that I've been looking for to complete the U.S. Forest Service 4-man spike camp kitchen. Today we're going to be restoring this, getting it back into not an original shape, but serviceable shape. It is a real gem. It's 100% complete, and I am so excited. Let's break it open and I'll show you what we got. What a little beauty is this. And to find one 100% complete, this is just like the stove I grew up with hunting, and my grandfather had it in our elk hunting camps. And I'm just so tickled. I was really upset to lose the other one to greedy family members, but I have one now. So what this is, if you don't know, it's a stove that burns gasoline, unleaded, or white gas. White gas always burns a little bit cleaner. I've got my manservant, Mr. Jariah, running to the store to get some right now so that we can, if we can get it done in time, we can test it. So how this works is you have a pressure tank here that fits right in here, and you've got a 2-burner stove. It's been a while. I got to remember how all this stuff works. I remember rebuilding these, and it also, look at this, came with a pump repair kit as well, and so we'll put this to use. I remember rebuilding these and working on them with Granddad and lighting them in the elk camps, and this is going to be the perfect complement to the spike camp field kitchen kit. Not only did I get the 425C for $15, but I got this as well. Who knows what this is? Some of you old heads will know. This is a toaster. This is a camp toaster for 4 slices, and we'll put this to use. I'll show you how this works when we get it up and running. We'll start by removing the burner. Now there should be, if memory serves, there should be a screw in the bottom that will release this assembly, and then 2 nuts, I believe, up in here, and there it is. We'll grab a big flat blade screwdriver. I am just tickled to find this nice stove. This would have been manufactured probably in the early 60s, if I had to guess. Original screw. Goodness, so good. Looks like we've got a couple of about 9/16 bolts in there, nuts. It's not even all that corroded. It's actually in pretty good condition. The main thing is that it's all complete. That's my main concern. Hopefully these are not, well, that's not 9/16. What was I thinking? That's 1/2 inch. 1/2 inch, maybe 7. Goodness. Been away from mechanicking too long. 7. Oh yeah, no problem. Those are not even tight. This is going to come apart real nice, I think. Not even corroded. While we're here, let's pull these bases off. They kind of make it difficult to work with. We might even repaint some of this red here. I got some nice cherry red enamel that will be a nice, that would really doll this up. Now we should be able to get the burner out. And we will see to this. Let's go through this first. Hit that thumbs up, gentlemen, if you enjoy these restoration type of videos. We sure appreciate that. So how this works, and actually before we go any further, I should make sure this has pressure. Now if this doesn't have pressure and it doesn't have any holes in it, usually that can be repaired by replacing this pump, which we have a replacement for, but it feels really good. I put a little oil on it, and you can test this very simply by putting some pressure in it and then opening the valve and listening. Hear that? We have air escaping. So that means it's holding air. So that's really a good sign. The other way you can do it is releasing the cap. Very good. That's exactly what we wanted to hear. So how this works, you fill this up with white gas or unleaded, and then it goes in here, and then you've got the 2 burners. So this controls the burner, this burner here, and then on the left side for your auxiliary burner, this clever little slide out, it slides outside of the case. This is how you control the temperature or the flame on the external burner. But these little guys here, you can see that there's a lot of rust and corrosion in there. They will get all gummed up and just not burn very cleanly. So we'll pull this apart and get these all sorted. And this thing should just look at that solid. Is that solid brass? This is a made in USA. This is when things were made properly. And it doesn't look like anyone's mucked with it. It's all original. So let's clean this stuff up here, see if we can't make this thing just as good as new. Pro tip, when you're working on things you're unfamiliar with, take one side apart at a time. Because Proho forgets how to put things back together. Yeah, these are a little bit rusted. And then you can always take the other one apart and see how it goes back together, right? So these need to be all separated and clean, free of rust. I'm going to put these in sequence. I might have to go back and watch my own video to put it back together. But I don't see any issues. They're actually it's quite good. I need a little tool that we can get in there and gently, don't damage these, gently pry those apart. When you're working on delicate pieces like this, use a brass brush. Brass is softer than metal. It doesn't remove any metal, and it cleans really, really good. A brass brush is perfect for this sort of thing where you have all these little ridges and valleys. That's doing a nice job, getting all that rust off of there. Oh, looking good. Thank you very much. Yes. Look better than mine, actually. Can I give you these two? You got after it a little harder than I did. Yeah, those look good. Well, this was the high water mark of stoves when things were made in the USA the best they could be made. How far have we fallen? Corporate greed has destroyed our country. That cleaned up very nicely. You see, Proho's already forgotten how this goes back together. so this is exactly why you don't disassemble both sides. So let's take this one apart and then we can use it as a guide for reassembling. And then we'll do this side here. All right, so what do we have going on here? So we've got a flat and a wavy, a flat, wavy, flat, wavy. So pretty self-explanatory here. While Mr. Jirai works on that accessory burner, we'll take a look at the housing here. So this is a clever little knob. This little knob goes outside the case, and this is how you trim the flame for that extra burner. And look how low tech it is. If you look in there, it's just a little washer that just limits the amount of, I guess, air to that. But everything is actually really nice in there, all original. I'm not going to fool with it. We'll just clean up the outside a little bit, but everything looks really great. Sometimes with these things, you get those little mason bees. You know, they build little mud daubers and such, so we'll blow this out. Yeah, there was some goobers that came out of there. Make sure that we don't have any obstructions. Safety squints engaged. A question that often comes up when you're setting up shop, should you get a wood vise first or a mechanic / machinist vise first? A machinist vise, for sure, and this would be second. The wood vise is very, very handy for so many things, and it's very gentle with the wood jaws. But when you need to do like really heavy work, bust out, replacing U-joints on drive shafts and just heavy duty work, there's just no substitute. We got these burners cleaned up nice, and of course Mr. Jirai's looks better than mine, but they'll both be a lot better. We got all that rust and corrosion out of there. I cleaned up very good. I'm happy with that. Let's turn our attention to this disgusting case here with, 70 years of grease. This is pretty foul. I think the best way to go about this We could disassemble the lid. Let's do that. I think if we disassemble the lid, we can get at it a little bit better. The best way to go about degreasing this, I think, is just going to be some good hot water and some Dawn dishwasher detergent. Oh yeah, look at that. This grate is pretty rusty. It's got a little bend in it. We can straighten those out. I'm going to hit this with some double aught steel wool is your go-to for cleaning rust off of things. Boy, steel wool is pure magic. We actually use, I think the finer one's called quad aught. I think that's what we use for cleaning the glass on the wood stoves. And that's a little bit finer, but the double aught, that's your go-to for just a good all-arounder. This is pretty rusty, but that's standard. When metal goes through those heat cycles, hot and cold, that's pretty hard on stuff. We've got some real hot soapy water here with Dawn. Dawn's a good grease cutter. Oh goodness. I'm gonna go get a bigger bucket. This grease is so thick, I'm gonna have to scrape it off with a razor blade. There are some dirty people out there. Can you imagine eating off of this in this condition? Oh, the dreaded slosh. That means it wasn't drained before it was put away. Anything that uses gasoline, drain it out 100% before you put it away. So that's gonna be in bad shape, you can bet. So let's get I'll seal that up there so I don't get any water in it, but let's just kind of do a real quick surface clean on here before we don't want to get a bunch of dirt in the pump. This is all sealed, so you don't have to worry about water getting in there. What type of surprise are we going to find in here? Look at that. That's a solid brass, heavy, solid brass cap. Well, good news. We've got a rubber seal in there that just looks pristine. You heard the pressure come out, so it's holding. Isn't that lovely? We might need to put a little polish on that. Let's see what's in the tank. I hear some sloshing in there. Well, that's not bad. White gas. If they used white gas is very pure and clean. Yeah, it smells like white gas, and it doesn't have all of that garbage that the EPA mandates to ruin your engines and to steal from you. The government's not here to help you, beloved. They only make things worse. So that's good news. I was thinking about taking that all apart, but looking inside, if we look closely, that is just pristine in there. Let me see if I can show you. If I can get that light right. Yeah, look at that. Do you see? No varnishing up. Boy, that is good news. We don't have to take any of that apart. I'm going to make the assumption that since they use good fuel, that all of the generator and everything is going to be gunk-free as well. Everything seems to function all right. You can take all this apart. There's a spring in there and the needles, but I think we'll leave sleeping dogs lay. Let's take the pump out though. We have a replacement, and that has I think the original ones had a leather gasket in them, and that can dry out, and we can put a new one in if we need to, but let's see what's in there. To remove these pumps, you unscrew this, and this will be the same as the lanterns. You just pry out this spring clip. That's what retains it. And it should, it's pretty oily there, it should just pull out. Be careful that you don't damage. I don't remember that. I guess that just goes, I don't know what that's for. But this is probably a newer one. The fact that it's rubber and not leather. But you know, while we're at it, let's put the new one in, and we can always keep this one as a spare. We know it holds pressure, but we'll give the stove every chance of working. I want to actually put this into use. This looks to be the same. It had a different part number than what was called for on the housing, but it seems to be, the fact that it's in here, I'm going to assume. So this has the adapter for the old, so look at this. So the new ones, of course, are all plastic. They got rid of the nice aluminum, but this one goes both ways. There's a new clip there as well. Now, Mr. Jiraiya, while he was at the hardware store, he picked up, they had a replacement there, and I was going to, this is the current model, what's available. I was going to check and see what the differences are. Okay, so the difference is that the new ones come pre-installed with the plastic for the newer style, but they also include the old one. So I guess these are all going to be the same. They just make them a little bit different now. So let's go with the new old stock here. Before you install the pump, get some motor oil, shake it up, get a little oil on the lid. You want to put a little bit of oil on that seal, and that will keep it from tearing and give it a little bit of lubrication. Just like you would do on an oil filter seal ring, same principle. Beautiful. That's why I like brass. I think the last thing we have to do is we'll just knock some of the rust off of this fuel line here. Steel wool gives me slivers sometimes, so I'll put my sissy mittens on for that. Pretend I'm an East Coast man. All right, gentlemen, we are ready for the good part. Should we do the assembly? This adjuster there, we'll put a little lubricating protected on there. This M&P from Amsoil is good stuff. It creates a nice film on there. That already is feeling better. Excellent. Okay. All right, let's start with the burner. Now we can put our burners on. This kind of just finds its center there. Make sure these are all sorted and centered. You can see that jet right there where the fuel comes out. No need to put any lubrication on these screws. This is just it'll burn off anyway, it's just gonna get hot. Now we can put our windscreen on. That's a little bit chewed up right there. I think we can straighten that. sheet metal work is a good trade. You can build so many things. Cases and enclosures. It's something I know very little about. I don't have much experience with it. Now these little guys, it's a clever design as well. Those are fit in there so you can use this thing in the wind. Yeah, this is tip top, is it not? I guess it's maybe not made to go that far. I guess you got a little bit of adjustment there. And these just fit into the slots here in the case. Actually, I should probably put the feet on. I forgot about that. The feet are important because the bottom of these get very hot and they'll catch your table on fire. So this is a very clever design where they flip up out of the way, but also hold the lid on. This right here is my aesthetic of choice. If you haven't been able to tell already. Original copper, solid copper funnel with felt. Felt keeps the water out. Can't buy these anymore. With these pressurized fuel systems, you only fill the pressure tank about half full. You got to leave room for the air. Oh, give me strength. Like what did I think was going to happen? That should be plenty to get us going. Stupid safety cap. This is the original, this was my model, the original Forest Service 1-gallon fuel container. This came from the, oh goodness. I guess that's why they include a rag. Am I not, maybe I'm not alone. This is the original one that I modeled mine after. All the dimensions I made the same, but designed for a 1-gallon can, rag, and funnel. This was the original Forest Service stenciling as well. I've just duplicated it. I got plenty of gas to clean up. I spilled it everywhere. Standard. Hit that thumbs up, gentlemen, if you enjoy these restoration videos. Unscrew it, 50 pumps for the big tanks. Cut them out. Lighting instructions. To light the main burner, turn lighting lever up, open valve completely, and light the main burner. After 1 minute, turn lever down, open valve, and light auxiliary burner. I thought maybe we had a fuel leak right there where that brass pipe thread threads into the tank, but I think that was just residual from where I spilled it. It's staying dry. It's under pressure right now. Okay, so lighting lever up, open main valve completely. Now that's frightening. We'll keep some distance with the torch here. Now this is gonna go for 1 minute. Looks like we have a nice pattern there in the flame. Open valve completely, light main burner. After 1 minute, turn the lever down. Boy, it sounds good. Now this might flame a bit, but it should stop. That should clean it up. Man, that looks great, huh? Will this burner go, the auxiliary? What's it say there? You always start with the main burner. That's closed. Whoops. Look at that. When you open this burner, it will take a little bit of heat away from that other one. Open that up all the way. Getting a little bit of pulsing. Maybe it needs to. You can pump this up. You can watch it. Watch the flame increase. Yeah, maybe 50 was right, but maybe it was a little bit light with the 40. Oh, she's chooching now. Isn't that wonderful? Success. We did a thing, gentlemen. Well, that, gentlemen, is about as good as it gets. I'm as happy as a bug in a rug, as my granddad used to say. About the best $15 I spent. The W's, they just keep coming this week. I'm very, very pleased with this. Now the Warband has a fully functioning campaign kitchen. May God bless you and your families. Please keep us in your prayers, and we'll see you all on the next video.